we're going to look at this topic real closely. So, do you feel specifically that that this man's untoward behavior was acceptable or unacceptable? Do you feel that his behavior towards this young woman was acceptable, unacceptable, and what role do you think men need to what responsibility do men need to have in terms of dealing with issues of lust?
First of all, it was unacceptable what he did because, a thing that we constantly do, and I hate to say it, and as a believer, you're not supposed to judge, which also judging goes into an idea of profiling. You got to know the person you're looking at, the person you're pursuing. So the example of, let me just share this. When I found the woman that I'm with now, my wife, I went in pursuit. I wasn't too zealous. I looked at her character. I looked at, like every man does these days. I did look at her Facebook profile or whatever I was available to look at because we were friends. I listened to who she was. Now, this man did bluntly go straight forward, straight on when he should have just talked with her and not made this random quick approach. I don't know how long he was pursuing her or if he did even pursue her. I mean, that was just his choice and he went about it wrong.
Okay, so you agree with the other members of the panel that the lack of, well, first of all, the motivation of a person is far more important than actually what they do. So, if they're choosing to behave in an untoward way, there is, that's feeding their selfishness. That's feeding their own personal gratification. For him, it was clear that he was mainly interested in her for the way she looked. He was looking at her pictures admiringly. I'll go ahead and say that and comment on those things. But he didn't take the time to actually look to see if she was legal. Nola, do you also share the similar beliefs of the panel, or do you have a different vantage point?
I do share the similar beliefs, although I would like to say that in pursuing, I find it to be selfish, and this is my belief. Of why
his behavior, or just lust in general, of the particular scenario we're talking about, or lust in general is selfish?
Well, the lust in general is selfish for him because, to me, as an older man, you know how to discern a woman of age, a woman that is young. Now, I call this selfish because why are you trying to pursue someone that is entirely 20 years older than?
He didn't know that. He didn't bother to check. He never even bothered to check. I mean, that's the thing. He commented on it, 3-4 comments later. He never even bothered to look. So she had rebuffed him 3, 4, 5, 6 times until she finally got to the fact that he had gray hair and she thought he was 60. He didn't even bother to look at her age. That's the point I'm making.
But again, it also goes back to wisdom. 90% of the people out there can see a woman that is of age. You can see a young woman versus, and again, I'm talking about wisdom and discernment. If you're doing what is right, that you can tell if a woman is young or if a woman is of your caliber. I called him selfish because he was literally seeking someone that was young. Whether he said, "Oh, I didn't know it," he was seeking that because.
So you think his motivation was to do it without? I mean, that was his intention all the time, and he was just using that as a face-saving method to say, "Oh, I didn't realize." Oh, yes, I see what you're saying.
A man of wisdom, and I'm calling age wisdom, a man of wisdom, or a woman of wisdom.
Well, wait, hold up. I mean, we have plenty of examples of old men without wisdom. I'm putting that out there. So there are a lot of old men who lack discernment or wisdom, and it's clear that we have a lot of them out there. So let's not be ageist just because you're older, because this guy was clearly older and didn't have wisdom. We have leadership that's older but don't necessarily have wisdom. I mean, we understand that wisdom is not necessarily a function of age, but attending to doing one's tasks with excellence, and excellence in character and age don't necessarily run hand in hand. I'm sorry, I just had to put that out there. I'm sorry.
So, okay, and I agree, and I'm glad that you put that out there. But how long are we going to keep bailing these people out? You go through life, and you're going to say, "Oh, sometimes these guys don't have wisdom." But you mean to tell me you're going to just keep falling? You're never going to learn. See, I hold them to a higher caliber, because you can't tell me that. Oh, well, I didn't know. Well, that's because you went through life just being dumb. No, you can look at a young woman's face and say, you know what, she's not of age. You can look and say, you know what? Her skin is too tight. She looks too beautiful. Let me just ask. Let me inquire. I don't think it takes wisdom. It just takes someone that says, you know what? I want someone that's of my age, so let me inquire. That's why I called him selfish.
So you believe that it was his intention to run game and potentially secure a quick, satisfying physical experience without having the responsibility because of her youth?
Yes, I do. And,
Okay.
and if I have the ability to sit down and talk with him, I will call him out on all points, because again, we're talking about a man who has navigated his way to be whatever age he is, and you can't tell me that you went through the 60s and the 70s and not know how to look at a woman and say that this woman is of new age versus a woman of old age.
Let me ask you this. Let's switch gears a little bit, and in the 5 minutes we have remaining, anybody can chime in on this. Is there a way outside of, say, the Bible or some moral compass to help men use a gut check to make wiser choices and not do these kinds of things, not do these kinds of embarrassing things that make all men look bad? I mean, what would you tell that guy in a way that he would hear you? And what advice would you give him so that he can be a better man?
Would you allow? Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Rule 73. I would like to say, first of all, that I wouldn't use a platform as any type of media to search or to look for anyone. I would actually go back to doing things the old way and rely upon someone like BA or Mustang who actually knows what I'm about, who knows what I like, and can may have ran across someone and that can say, you know what, I have someone that I would like you to meet. So I would rather go the old way versus trying to be old and trying to be tech when you know you're not, and you're making mistakes like you are.
All right. Any other guys have other thoughts? Mustang, I heard you chime in there for a minute.
For me, I think more of a gut check for guys, secularists who are just kind of like, hey, I don't believe in God, but I do have a moral compass, but I'm kind of wondering about this. Would you allow the same thing to happen to your daughter? Would you allow a 6-year-old man to date your 20-year-old daughter? You know what I mean? So if you wouldn't do that, then hey, it's probably not a good idea for you yourself. Are you driven by lust? Or are you driven by a relationship, marriage, children, growing old together? And by old together, I mean you. Because you're never going to see her old anyway. I mean, that's not being rude. I mean, I'm being direct, but I'm being direct right now. I mean, I'm genuinely speaking, and that's assuming the person's 20 and 60. Anyway. I almost said anyway, but right. All that to say, basically, like I said, for the moral and I'm being serious now, guys. That was a joke, but being serious though, is it something that you're looking for a long-term? And when I mean long-term, I'm talking about marriage. I'm not talking about a long dating. I'm talking about marriage. You two are, I'd like to get married, but, first things you need to figure out: what's her favorite color? What does she like to do? What does she not like? What things, what kind of movies does she like? And even beyond that, let's keep going, a little deeper than that. What's not even her favorite food, but, how does she like things prepared? How does she like to read? Does she like to read by candlelight? Does she like to read, in dark places? Does she like to read in brightly lit places? Is she socially awkward? Is she socially, very outgoing and ambitious? What kind of things do you know about her before you say, I want in those panties? Because it sounds like that's exactly what he was going for, is I want what's in there. You have no idea what's going on, first of all. You have no idea about this lady. You have no idea what she could be like for your children. She could hate kids. You're dying to have kids, and she hates children. Yet you don't know that because you're so blinded by her breasts.
Wow, yeah.
Indirect.
No. I think those are very valid points. We will pick up on this topic of lust in part 2 of this series on lust and also social media. We'll talk about that on next week's discussion. Thanks so much, you guys, for joining us each and every week. We'd like to invite you to check out our Facebook page, Conversations from the Cave. Simply search it or hashtag it and land on our page and subscribe. Also, check us out on YouTube. We're also on iTunes as well as Spreaker.com. Please do subscribe to each of our social media pages so that you can be abreast of all of the great shows that come down the pike. This has been Conversations from the Cave. I'm your host, Kirk Kennedy, and until next time, bye-bye.
Conversations from the Cave is brought to you by the Alabama Cornea Care Center, Northern Alabama's first irregular cornea, keratoconus, and scleral lens referral center, specializing in the management of degenerative cornea disease and complications resulting from refractive surgery. For more information, you may visit them on the web at alabamacorneacare.com. The Alabama Cornea Care Center, helping patients see the light of the world. Conversations from the Cave is a production of the Provox Media Group. For more information or to share your questions or comments, visit our podcast Facebook page by searching Conversations from the Cave. The views expressed on this program are the personal beliefs of the panelists and do not necessarily represent the beliefs of the Provox Media Group or its sponsors. Join us next time for more real talk from real men. Conversations from the Cave.